Hello and welcome to the Hawkey PuckCast. This is a fan-run podcast about the Chicago Blackhawks. My name is Tyler, and unfortunately, we're not joined by Wally today, but we still have Nick.
What's up? Got to go to 2 games this weekend. It was pretty nice.
And John.
Where did the real Icehogs go? Because I want them back right now, please, and thank you.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a different episode because we're talking about teams' misfortunes and fortunes in places we didn't expect them. If you weren't aware, the Blackhawks won 3 games, lost none in overtime. And the Rockford Icehogs this week
Or 3-0.
won 0 games,
Or 0-3.
lost all 3,
0-3.
and had no games that went to overtime that ended in losses. So we were talking about how great the Icehogs were all season and how bad the Blackhawks were all season. This week was a complete switcheroo of those narratives and anything to do with that. We're going to start by talking about the Blackhawks games. Before we do, Nick, what jersey have you got on right now?
I'm wearing my Brent Seabrook Heritage 3rd jersey from basically his final year in the NHL.
Yeah, that was... Well, 2019-20 was his last season that he ever played games in.
Yeah, and this actually would have been one of the last jerseys he played in because he got injured early in 2019.
Yeah. Nice. Potentially, possibly even future Hall of Famer Brent Seabrook. But we'll have to see on that. We'll have to see on that in just about a couple more months. First thing, however, is we got a Blackhawks game against the Buffalo Sabres, and this game was on Tuesday night, and it started off kind of weird for the Hawks. Like, they were getting outplayed all night pretty much, and yeah, that kind of felt like the case for all 3 games. But, there were moments in these games where, there were good things happening, but it felt like, every once in a while, you wouldn't get the final pass to work, or someone would make a poor decision that would cause it to just not go as well as you'd hope.
Yeah. Since I was at the game, I noticed a lot of it, and Buffalo wearing those ugly reverse retro uniforms, wearing all white. It was a disgrace watching that because that's a terrible uniform.
I like how we have 0 losses this weekend. Nick still found a way to throw the word disgrace into the conversation.
Yep.
But you know what?
That's his favorite word.
Yeah. That game, however, it took a while for the Blackhawks to really figure anything out. But there was one guy there was one guy who was playing well the entire night, and it was Phil Kurashev. Kurashev mainly. Kurashev was absolutely everywhere the entire night.
Oh, yeah. That was the one thing I noticed when I did get to go to the morning skate that morning, and I noticed Kurashev was buzzing out on the ice during morning skate, and when it went to game action, it continued on game through, and he was frankly snuffed for the first star, but I understand why Steph Jones ended up with the first star that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't start out the best for Seth though. Throughout the first for the first part of this game, really wasn't the best. That goal though for Kurashev, I have to give a lot of credit to. Oh wait, no, sorry, my bad. The goal was actually scored by Connor Murphy. Mr. in my notes, totally forgot about that. Goal was scored by Connor Murphy. It was a great cross crease pass. Same kind of cross crease pass to an open slot shot. We would see a little bit later in the St. Louis game. Worth mentioning, I remember complaining earlier this year about how the fact the Blackhawks got 0 slot shots ever. And now we're seeing a lot more of them. And surprise, surprise, they're scoring goals. Which wait, you get slot shots and you score goals?
They're also getting more opportunities from the blue liners by the defense actually getting activated in the offensive zone, moving the puck well and getting some goals put up by defensemen now.
Yeah, getting goals by defensemen. That's exactly what we have here. was a great play by Taze to find Kershaw behind him.
Oh, yeah.
Because two Sabres chased after Taze, which very poor defensive decision making by them. But Kershaw was able to find the pass over to Murphy. Great wrist shot by Murphy, and hard-nosed defensive defenseman, but he scores a goal right there. And it always is nice to see Murphy score a goal because it doesn't happen often, but he probably has one. He celebrates like he celebrates like it's his first ever goal every time.
Yeah, and with that goal for Murphy, it being his 4th of the season, it ended up giving him the defenseman goal leading tally for just a little bit in that night.
Yeah, the game does not stay great though when it comes to the Blackhawks. This honestly, I remember watching this next play when Buffalo tied it up and thinking that's the worst shift I've seen from Jake McCabe this entire season.
Yeah,
it was just it was
all
terrible.
Jake McCabe narratives have died on that shift.
He's been great the majority of the season. He was great the majority of the week, but there's this one shift right here. He allows a bad zone entry. He gets completely messed up when it comes to his stick checking, allowing Tyson Jost to completely cross the face of the goalie. Wasn't great position in front of the net by Seth either, and then it was a tap-in goal for Victor Olofsson at the far post. And hey, we got a tie game, but I would say that in totality that those two played well, Seth and McCabe, but this play right here wasn't great from either of them, but especially McCabe.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At this point, I noticed one thing that I thought was interesting. It took a while before Tyler Johnson or Max Domi was doing anything productive. I don't know if you noticed this, but for the first 2 periods, I thought those two just could not get anything going at all right.
Yeah, there was points where Domi had some opportunities that he would either turn and pass when he should have shot. And I noticed a few times in the game where Johnson also just seemed like he was invisible out there. But later on, he did get very activated in later parts of the game.
Yeah, no, that was good.
It feels like Domi's been doing that a lot this season. Not taking shots when he should be taking shots.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, is funny considering the fact that he is our leading scorer.
Yeah.
Which
right.
I find that hard to believe. Like, you have Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, your leading scorer is Max Domi. What?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's a bizarre thing, but hey, trade value.
Yeah.
First round pick.
Of course, what I think was funniest here, personally, my favorite moment of the game was watching the entire first period and thinking, Tage Thompson has done absolutely nothing effective the entire night. And then with just a couple seconds to go in this first period, man just decides, all right, I'm taking over this game. I thought that this play, this whole defensive breakdown at the very end of the period was really caused by a lack of recognition from Sam Lafferty, because Tage Thompson was kind of just standing in the middle of the ice for the entire play as Jeff Skinner kind of figured out where to go with it. And then he just cuts the back of the net. And obviously, you're going to look and see, oh, Seth Jones is right there and he could have stopped Tage Thompson. Well, Tage Thompson basically just pulls one of the best angles I've seen in the last 2 months out. There really was no chance for Mrazek or Seth Jones to do anything. That play could have been stopped if Sam Lafferty would have recognized it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we move into the second period. Hawks are down 2-1. And after all that winning that we had done last week or so, kind of felt like it wasn't going to stay here because this game, they were just not playing very well. I believe at one point the shot totals were 17-4 or something in favor of the Sabres. The Sabres were definitely outplaying the Blackhawks in this game. It was not even close.
Yeah, it wasn't. And being in the United Center, you could honestly hear a pin drop in the UC if how it was during that second period of play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it wasn't all that good. they just weren't playing very well. And then, the Hawks get a power play, but it gets even worse because it was one of the worst power plays I've seen. This is the moment when you start to say, okay, Max Domi is just having one of those nights where just nothing's going his way. Puck bobbles off him off a pass reception on the power play. Basically goes shorthanded the other direction. And Peyton Krebs gets a full-on breakaway, scores. And in the weirdest turn of events, Seth Jones is a -3, and I honestly don't know if I think that he's at fault for any of the goals.
No, he wasn't. This one honestly was on Max Domi.
Yeah.
Kane tried to pass him the puck onto the blue line, and Domi just could not handle a clean pass, and it led to Peyton Krebs taking advantage of it.
Yeah. But again, it takes a while for things to figure out. It still was a struggle all night for Max Domi the entire game. But, eventually we get the guy who'd been playing great all night. He had the assist earlier. He finally gets his own reward, a tip-in goal for Philip Kurashev. And, hey, Blackhawks are back in this game now.
Chevy sparked the team. Kurashev got the team back and going, and it was the Kurashev show that game. And the way he was able to spark it with this goal, you could feel the energy just start coming back to the Blackhawks in this period of play.
Yeah. That goal scored by Kurashev, that was towards the very beginning of the third period. It took a while, though, for the Blackhawks to really create any sort of additional chances to try and get that final goal to tie it up. And eventually they do. Seth Jones scores a goal from the point, just under a minute to go. And miraculously, despite being nowhere close to the best team in the game, playing very poorly, somehow, through the will of effectively one single person by the name of Philip Kurashev, the Blackhawks are heading to overtime.
Yeah, and
I thought that was a pretty nice shot by Jones.
It was a laser by Steph Jones, but to also note,
and then
the goal was put under review
in front of Anderson.
And that is why that goal was put under review, just in case Johnson wasn't interfering.
Yeah, there was a goalie interference review, and
I don't think there was anything there.
I didn't think I saw it right away, and I'm like, there's absolutely no chance this gets called in a goalie interference. Like, there's absolutely zero chance. It was just random incidental contact in front, outside of the crease.
I never caught it.
Incidental contact outside the crease. I didn't even really see anything that could have been called goalie interference. It seemed like a very basic, very legal thing to do, like just a random screen with some small contact.
Exactly. And it was the refs who went to the review room. It wasn't even a coach's challenge. Usually something like that would have been a coach's challenge. I was kind of surprised when after the Hawks got the goal counted, it didn't go to a power play. Then I realized it was the refs who went to the review.
It was official review, yeah.
This happened early in the game before the Seth Jones play. I just thought it was funny. Mrazek went out to play the puck, and then Seth Jones had to play goalie. I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, if you want to talk about Jones is playing goalie.
Yes, the next.
If you want to talk about Jones is playing goalie, we'll get to that in a bit. But we head into overtime, and what else is there to say?
There were a couple missed opportunities, but a 2-on-1 break.
Domi's, yeah.
Yep.
Domi turned it around. Domi really did turn it around. Like, it took a while for him because
I don't think his breakaway chance was very good, though. That was kind of poor, to be honest with you.
If you look at it, the puck was bouncing on him, and I can't blame Domi for not being able to bury it.
But didn't it at the last second it flat out?
That was what I noticed. I noticed that at the last second, it evened itself out. It stopped bouncing, and then he took the shot, and it kind of went high. I'm like, come on.
I do like McCabe's interception in the D zone. I thought that was a good play.
Yeah, it was a good play there. But then, the guy who I had been basically saying the entire night was just completely terrible, Tyler Johnson, somehow ends the game with 2 assists.
Hey,
And one to
TJ
win.
was
One to win it.
One to win it. Tyler Johnson to Seth Jones, and the smile on Seth Jones's face belongs in a museum, for goodness sakes.
Seth Jones is something productive offensively.
Seth Jones hockey. Catch the fever. All-stars, Seth Jones. But with that, Seth Jones gets a first star in the game. I'm not going to agree with that. My player of the game was Philip Kurashev. I think Seth Jones had a good end of the game.
He scored the game winner.
I think Seth Jones had a good end of the game, scoring those 2 goals.
Was that Seth Jones' first star?
The guy who really created everything that led up to that moment, the only guy who was productive during the moments when the Blackhawks were bad, and the guy who dragged the team back in with his good moments was Philip Kurashev. He had 3 points in regulation, and he was basically the only reason that this team was even effective at all. As we move on to the next game, that game against the Sabres actually concluded a 7-game homestand. And to be fair to the Blackhawks, be fair to them, in that time they went 4-3, which they deserve credit for that. They played well. They lost to the Sharks, Tampa, and Seattle, but then they beat Colorado, Calgary, Buffalo, and Arizona. I mean, some of those teams are better than others, but I mean, Buffalo is resurgent. Colorado won the Cup last year, even if they're playing worse this year. And Calgary is near the playoffs, if not in a playoff spot. Those are good games. I mean, those are pretty good games. And going 4-3 in a 7-game homestand, not bad. We head off to a 2-game road trip. First game in Philly, next game in St. Louis. And this first game against Philly, it didn't look like the Hawks really had a ton of momentum this game at all. Kind of felt like they were getting shelled.
Yeah, it was the Peter Mrazek game. That was his best game in a Blackhawk jersey. If it wasn't for Mrazek, the Hawks probably would have been getting shelved 7-1. That's how bad the team looked. They got 4 goals in, but the team legit did not look good that night.
The Hawks were doing really well in recent games, scoring first, but this was one of the games where that actually didn't seem to be the case. First team to get on the board for this game actually was Philadelphia.
Yeah. The goal was breaking Steph Jones's ankles, basically, when Morgan Frost came into the Hawks defensive zone, deking Jones into a basically tangle himself up and go bar down on Peter Mrazek.
Yeah. I don't really blame Seth Jones though, because he was the only guy back he was the only guy back on a 3-on-1. It was a poor turnover by Taylor Radish. I can't really say that I would fault Seth Jones in that situation, but it is kind of funny, like, oh, you got dangled out of your jockstrap. Like,
Yeah. It wasn't on Jones. It was the Hawks not coming back to help defend, and that's what caused it. Jones just got deked out of his skates.
Yeah, that's how the first period ends. The Hawks are down 1-0, and now we're on a 2-game road trip after the long homestand. Start to think, well, maybe the winning's going to come to an end now, and we're going to go back to being the Blackhawks. No, actually, not quite. Next goal that was scored was by the Hawks halfway through the second period.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was a shot at the point by Seth, and it was a good high deflection in front by Jonathan Toews.
Yeah, it was a nice setup goal for Jones to with another laser of a shot that gets redirected into the net, leading to the Hawks' momentum starting to be shown. Granted, they don't fully gain true momentum after this goal.
Nah, it wasn't yet. they were still kind of dealing with it was still a struggle for them. They weren't playing great. It's kind of a marvel that they ended up with the scoreline they did, because I wouldn't necessarily say they played particularly well at all.
No.
And they were kind of got dominated the majority of the game. But eventually, and I know he doesn't get an assist on this play because they only got credit for 2 assists, but this goal was started by aggressive forechecking by Mackenzie Entwistle.
Yes.
Entwistle starts this play, aggressive forechecking, which puts the Flyers in a bad situation. Colin Blackwell creates a turnover at the offensive blue line, keeps the puck in the zone, which is crucial for this play, because if that wasn't the case, Entwistle would have been off sides. If that ended up getting out of the zone, you wouldn't have been able to even start this chance. Blackwell gets it, finds a pass over to Reese Johnson, and remember what I was saying earlier about cross creases? Reese Johnson, easy slot shot, and he scores. And again, more slot shots. Nothing better than slot shots.
Who would have had Reese Johnson on the score line on their bingo card that night?
No, I don't think anyone would have had Reese Johnson being the goal scorer, but he is playing pretty well as of late. Better shot than I honestly thought that he had.
Yeah, it was not a bad looking shot. The fact I would still give all credit with where the credit's due, Blackwell stealing the puck and getting it over to Reese, because without that, the goal would not be in any position of happening, because Blackwell kept the play alive for the Hawks in the offensive zone, and it leads to the Hawks taking advantage of it. And that's how I give credit for a good goal right there.
You know what? I just realized something.
What's up?
I just realized, you know why the Blackhawks are winning so much?
It's because the Icehogs are not winning.
Tkachuk has been scratched for the last 7 games.
That's totally the reason.
And we've won 6 out of 7.
Hasn't played since Tampa. Since we played Tampa, he hasn't played in over 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks.
About damn time, Richardson, for benching him.
Richardson seeing the light.
Luke Richardson is seeing the light, and all the pro tank brigade are not happy, I guess.
My uncle's not happy.
Because wasn't Kachuk or
he was
tank
the tank
commander.
He was
tank
our first
commander of the week?
Yeah, because that was that game against St. Louis where he completely sold and threw that pass out in the middle of the ice. He hasn't played in he hasn't played in so long. It's been a really genuinely long time since Boris Tkachuk has played for the Blackhawks. And I have no complaints. I have 0 complaints.
Hey, the Hawks could easily send him down to Rockford at this point, because it's
no,
been
please,
2
no,
weeks.
no, please, no, do not. Do not.
No.
Do not.
You can send a player down for a conditioning stint after 2 weeks of not play, and it's been about 2 weeks.
I do not want him. I do not want him on this Icehogs team.
They could send him down for.
We're already dealing it without.
They could send him down for a conditioning stint. They could do that.
I just don't want to.
Do I think they will? Probably not. I think that the chances are he could. There could be a situation that he gets placed on waivers. I don't think he would get claimed for the same reasons nobody were traded for Alex Formanton. Not really going to say anything else on the topic.
Okay.
I do not want to see him on this team. Icehogs are already dealing with enough crap. And we'll get to that later. But I'm not too happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We head into the third period of this Flyers game. And it was really early where Blackhawks were able to extend this lead to 3-1. And it comes off the stick of Patrick Kane first, rebound, and then Tyler Johnson scores the rebound goal. One thing that I noticed here is that the 3 goal scorers in this game, we've got Jonathan, Johnson, and Johnson.
Yes, but we didn't get Jack Johnson on the score sheet.
No, but that
We didn't
would
get the
require an
trifecta.
actual miracle.
I mean, we need the triple. We need all Johnsons to get a goal at one game. Just please. That would be a miracle if it happened.
That would be the best thing ever. That would be absolutely
The Johnsons.
fantastic. So yeah, Tyler Johnson scores. Philly still continues to try and get their chances. It doesn't really matter though. Mrazek was a brick wall the entire night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mrazek,
he played absolutely fantastically.
Hey, Mrazek playing against his former team, maybe a little bit of a revenge game for himself because he sucked in Philadelphia, but he was really good against Philadelphia tonight.
All right, and then they Philadelphia, they let him go. And that was like back when Mrazek was regularly playing well. His time in Philly was kind of an outlier as like the time where he was really struggling. Sure, he's not been that great as of late in his career. Last 2 seasons have been pretty poor, but that was like the only time where he really struggled early in his career.
100% sure.
So
that.
I'm sure it was good for him to win that game. And after a Philip Kurashev empty net goal, the guy deserves as many points as he can get because he's played so well. He deserves every moment to just rack up all those points.
Yep.
The Hawks win their first regular season game in Philadelphia since 1996.
It's odd that it happened. None of us were born on this podcast yet. With the last time the Hawks won a regular season game in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
granted,
that was the first time
they got their
lives.
most important win in Philadelphia in 2010.
Oh yeah, the most iconic goal in hockey history.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm the most notorious and iconic goal in hockey history. Sorry, I'm saying it. Patrick Kane, Patrick Kane's wears the puck. Greatest goal ever.
It's better than the Bobby Orr line in the air. Granted, thank you, Bobby, for beating St. Louis in a cup final.
Yes, that was great. Yes. That was 3 generations before us.
Oh yeah, definitely. But still, you have to thank a guy for beating St. Louis in any championship.
Oh yeah. And with that, the Hawks continue to play well. That is credited as 5 wins out of 6. And now we head into the St. Louis game. And the pretext for this game was a bit concerning because the first part of note is that
NHL debut.
Jackson Stauber. Yes. NHL debut for Jackson Stauber. Guy who started the year on the depth chart as our 4th string goalie in the organization.
Didn't he start the season with the Indy Fuel this year at one point?
No.
Okay.
No. Wells started the year with
Wells and Stauber up with
Wells and Weeks started the year with the Indy Fuel.
Okay.
But the whole thing there is so Stauber was our 4th string goalie coming into the year. Was our AHL backup who had never played professional hockey before this season. Ever.
Did not even play a single preseason game this year in the NHL.
No. So he gets some time in the AHL this year, and there wasn't actually all that good. It wasn't really all that good. He was an .896 save percentage, which isn't great. So you're looking at a guy who you're really only playing because you don't want Mrazek going back-to-back nights.
It would have been cool if they waited his debut out for the LA Kings the next night, just because that's the team his dad made his NHL debut for.
I actually had no clue Jackson Stauber's dad played in the NHL.
Yes, his dad played goalie for the LA Kings.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll need to look that up later because that's interesting. But okay, so Jackson Stauber gets the start, and right away it's just action, action, action. I wouldn't say that any of them were truly amazing chances, but
There were a couple quality.
I would say there was a couple of really good opportunities that Stauber had to be attentive for, and he was.
Yes. Stauberg looked strong in net for his having to face shots at the early part of the game. I think it built his confidence early on because he seemed lights out in that first period of play because he was taking quality shots early in the period. It took the Hawks 10 minutes to even get a shot on net?
Yes, it took them 10 minutes to get an entire shot on net. And the reason why the fact that they took them 10 minutes to get a single shot on net is because they scored on their first shot of the game.
Oh, they did. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. John did not get to see this game, and the primary reason for that is because he was at the Icehogs game tonight, which he'll be able to help us out a lot more when it comes to that later. So we will educate John on the gloriousness that was Jackson Stauber's NHL debut.
And I was sitting right behind the glass, 5 rows behind the Hawks net where they were shooting twice. So I got to witness those goals that basically you knew Binnington sucked.
He Binningtoned the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
To start, it was bad. So the first goal was scored by Jason Dickinson, and this thing was absolutely fantastic. And remember what I was saying earlier about cross-crease slot shots?
Yes.
Cross-crease slot shots.
And to note
the
assist by
Inject into my veins.
The assists from this Dickinson goal were from Steph Jones and Sam Lafferty, who both played strong performances in their respective games tonight.
Oh, yeah, no. Lafferty and Dickinson were both good tonight. It seems like the only times those two can score is if the other one's assisting them.
Yes.
Which, of course,
that's true.
We will on the same line forever. We'll see once again. They are on the same line. However, the next goal-scoring chance for the Blackhawks comes shorthanded. So the Blues go to a power play. Hawks have to kill off a penalty. Dickinson is in his own zone. He throws a puck up the ice to a streaking Lafferty, who gets behind the defense, goes away for a shorthanded breakaway, and he scores 5-hole on Jordan Binnington. And that right there is not only the Blackhawks' second goal of the game, it's also their second shot of the game. That was 13 minutes into the first period. 13
so we scored on our first and second shots of the game. That's incredible.
And I honestly thought there was a genuine chance that Binnington got pulled right then and there.
I honestly was kind of surprised they didn't pull Binnington and go to Thomas Greiss after that Lafferty shorty, because you could tell Binnington is rattled. He's letting in soft goals for himself. Granted, he's a soft player. He's a hothead.
6x6.
Yes. And
when you employ Seth Jones and you still laugh at Binnington 6x6.
I was just laughing because the clown of Binnington was terrible tonight, and you could tell it was going to be a good game when you knew Binnington was terrible, as he should be.
Oh yeah, no, it was not a good night for Binnington. We end the first period, and the shot totals were 11-3 in favor of the Blues, and we were winning 2-0.
Hey, we were winning 2-0, but I get it. We were terrible in that first period of play, like we were pretty much throughout the game, but we were getting goals and we were able to chase, basically rattle Jordan Bennington, which is always nice to see.
That was very fun. That's always fun. And the third goal continues to be Blackhawks goals.
Yes.
It just keeps on going. This one is apparently greatest of all time, Reese Johnson.
Yeah.
Scoring off a fantastic pass by Colin Blackwell out in front of the net. Blackwell is behind the net, pass it in front to Reese, who just tips it in back post of Jordan Bennington. And yeah, I mean, this one was worse defense than the previous ones, but like Bennington's got to do something.
This goal, I would say, was more the fact that Reese Johnson beat a much larger and heavier player in Callie Rosen to the crease area to get the puck redirected past Bennington, which it's hard to say this, but it's true. Rosen is a player that's very shut down and hard to get around, and the fact that Reese was able to get on the board beating Rosen was pretty nice to see.
It's very similar to when the Hawks played Tampa and Patrick Maroon had that goal that he scored where he basically bullied Isaac Phillips, and then he got a tip in at the back at the opposite post. Yep, it was a very similar goal. But the Blues start to kind of think that they could get back in this game. Kyrou scores, good wrister, top shelf off the power play. But then
Hawks
right back at him. That goal that Kyrou scored was really quick after the Blackhawks scored. It was less than a minute after. But then about a minute after that is the Blackhawks' fourth goal game. And
chaser.
This one comes from the one and only guy who actually, put a puck where he wanted it to on a shot for the first time ever, Andreas Athanasiou.
Yeah.
It was a laser. That thing was a rocket, top left corner, bar down and in. And after that is 4 goals on 7 shots for Jordan Bennington.
And that's a chaser.
There you go.
We only had
good riddance.
We only have 7
Bennington.
Shots in the middle of at the start of the second period.
Yes, we only had 7 shots at the start of the second period.
Jordan
Bennington had less saves than goals he allowed.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? The game against Seattle.
Peter Mrazek. Yeah. No, I was about to say, obviously, we did just last week have a game where Peter Mrazek allowed 4 goals on 5 shots. So maybe we shouldn't be talking, but still, it's not.
Screw Bennington.
Nah, this is St. Louis. We don't care about St. Louis here.
Yeah, it's always nice to just say screw the Blues.
Oh yeah, the Blues start to try and think they're going to get back into this game. Barbashev scores, and then later in the game, he gets in a fight with Isaac Phillips, which was fun.
It was not a good fight for Phillips.
No, but I like the initiative from him. I like the fact that he's willing to drop the gloves, but good for you for doing that, but please don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
You give him a participation ribbon.
Yeah. No, I mean, I honestly think that it's good that he was willing to do that. I was really happy that we saw that. Barbashev scores. After that, Nick Leddy actually scores.
You mean Blackhawks legend Nick Leddy?
Blackhawks legend Nick Leddy. The only thing that made the Cam Barker draft pick not terrible, Nick Leddy.
Yeah.
I saw
Trading
Cam Barker
trading
jersey.
Cam Barker from MacLeod is the greatest thing ever.
I saw a Cam Barker jersey one time at an Icehogs game. It was beautiful.
Yeah, because he spent most of his time there.
It was a black. It was a Winter Classic jersey. The black Winter Classic jersey.
Winter Classic jersey. Okay. All right. Well, Nicoletti scores, and now it's 4-3, and then we're about halfway through the third period. And I'm thinking, okay, the Hawks have been getting outplayed the entire night, and they kind of keep getting outplayed, and it really doesn't change. They're really not giving Stauber any chances to breathe.
Yeah.
And they're really not challenging Thomas Greiss at all. Eventually, they finally break through. They score their fifth. Max Domi scores. As we said before, leading scorer of the Chicago Blackhawks, Max Domi.
It was a nice tic-tac goal situation, how the passing worked out to Domi. He tried to feed the puck, but then it went right back to Domi's stick, and then he decided to actually shoot the puck. When you have a good shot, you shoot the puck. And Domi finally did what he should do. Use your shot, Domi. It works.
Actually use your shot. Yeah. Imagine how many more goals the Hawks could have this year if they just shot in opportune positions. Of course, obviously, it's easier to say that than actually do it, but, you know.
Domi probably would have 22 goals right now if he used his shot more.
How many goals does he have right now?
Like 13.
14.
Yeah, it's 14.
He is 14. I think that there's definitely 8 more goal opportunities in there for him to have figured out. I don't think that's crazy. It's just that, but I do also think that he's using his shot a lot more now than he did.
Seems like he's getting better.
The first 2 months of the season were not great in that aspect, but it seems like it's getting a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
He also does have a knack for scoring goals in overtime, which is fun.
Yeah, he does.
And with that, that's a 5-3 game, and the Hawks win. The St. Louis Blues try and pull goalie, doesn't work, and the Blackhawks win, and Jackson Stauber gets his first NHL victory. And that's just fantastic. I will say that I was rooting for him, but I personally didn't come into this game thinking that he was going to beat the Blues.
I bought my tickets maybe 4 hours before puck drop, and I was like, when I saw Stauber is the starter, I was like, ooh, we're going to see an NHL debut. And I said, oh, actually, that's a good thing for the Hawks because the Blues are terrible when they're facing a goalie that's never played in the NHL. I was like, Stauber's going to get an NHL win tonight. He's going to win tonight because I know St. Louis, and they are terrible. They have the history of sucking when they're facing a rookie goalie with no NHL experience at all. And I was like, okay, we'll see a win right now.
Yeah. It started to feel like there was a certain point where you're like, they're just not going to – he is not going to allow them to score tonight. They're just not going to get past him. And they got past him a couple times, but he still got the win. And he didn't get past them as much as, they didn't get past him anywhere near as much as they got past Jordan Binnington / Thomas Greiss, primarily Jordan Binnington.
Stauber was really good in his debut, and you have to give all credit to the kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're going to move into our players of the week for this week. Don't have any Tank Commanders to talk about because there were, count that, 0 losses entirely. So let's start with Nick. Who is your player of the week for the Blackhawks this week?
I would like to go with number 4, Steph Jones, the all-star for the Hawks. He had a hell of a performance against by getting the Hawks leading points in this week's play with the play against Buffalo, having 2 goals and an assist against Philly, and an assist against St. Louis. So it has to be Steph Jones.
All right, Seth, for you. John, who have you got for your player of the week?
Jackson Stauber, former Icehogs legend. Well, he might be. He probably will be back down, but he got, what was his? So he saved 29 out of 32 today, and by all accounts, he was pretty good today. So I'll go Jackson Stauber, and yeah, he's been playing well with the Icehogs too. So I'll pick him.
Playing much better. Good NHL debut. Not going to talk about an NHL debut, but I will talk about a goalie because Peter Mrazek had a fantastic week, saving 37 of 38 against the Flyers. And then he only allowed 3 goals against Buffalo. And in that game, he faced, what was it again? He faced 33 shots, 30 saves on 33 shots, both games above a 900 save percentage. That one game against Philly was absolutely fantastic. And the Hawks won both of those games. And we'll see what happens tomorrow against LA. However, he had 2 really good games. Seth Jones played well. Stauber had a great game. There were some other really good performers across the entire week. But for me, the answer is Peter Mrazek. 2 wins in a week like this against one. I know there wasn't the biggest competition, but, it was still a good performance for him. So I'm going to go with Peter Mrazek as my Blackhawks player of the week. And with that, that's going to wrap up our Blackhawks recap section of this podcast. We're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, John's going to be able to help us out a ton when it comes to what happened with the Icehogs this week. And I see he's not very happy about it, but we're still going to have to talk about it anyways. Sorry about that. We'll see you all in a bit. All right, we are back, and let's get into this Rockford report. So let's get sad.
Let's get real sad because this was terrible.
This was not a very good week. It is worth mentioning that this is the week where Arvid Soderblom is back from his injury. Did that help, John?
No, it did not.
Yeah,
okay.
What the heck happened? Let's start with the game against. This was Wednesday against the Griffins. All 3 of the games the Icehogs played this week were at home. This first game was against the Griffins. Mitchell Weeks. Actually, the starter appears to have been Dylan Wells.
Can I talk? Do you want?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Just go.
Okay. First and foremost, I want to know who stole the Icehogs because these are not the actual Icehogs. These are clones, and they're not playing well.
Blackhawks did.
Okay, so we'll say the Blackhawks stole the Icehogs. Okay, so Dylan Wells gives up 3 goals on the first 6 shots. Not good.
Oh, that's Bennington level.
Potentially.
That's Bennington level.
All right, so then Wells is pulled after the 3rd goal, and that was in 3 minutes and 47 seconds played in the first, by the way. So he only played 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the first.
Your starting goalie played less than 4 minutes.
Yes.
That is bad.
And then
That's bad.
Weeks comes in, right? So we think everything's going to be better, right? Nope. He gives up the first goal on his first shot faced.
No, that's fun.
Yeah, that's...
So we're down 4-0 in the first period.
That is a Stalock moment.
That's the Stalock moment, yeah.
So after the first goal, after the first shot, Weeks was fine. This was not a Weeks problem. I won't even say that Dylan Wells even played that bad. I think 2 goals were probably the defense's fault, and then 1 goal was probably his fault.
He still had 3 goals on 6 shots.
Yeah, it's not good, but not Dylan Wells. It's not all on Dylan Wells. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So then, Louis Crevier was a -2, and I don't think he played that well. He played meh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hogs 0 for 4 on the power play, but we're perfect on the PK. That's the only thing good we did tonight. 0 for 3, or no, we stopped all 3 power play chances for the Griffins. So that's the only good thing we did all game.
Yeah, because you allowed all your goals early, and power plays usually don't happen until the 7th minute and something.
Yeah.
Well, we did allow an empty netter, but I don't really count empty netters. They're kind of It's a half goal. Icehogs outplayed in the first, but because obviously we got 4 goals scored on us.
Yeah, I mean,
But for the rest of the game, we controlled play, just couldn't buy a goal. So I blame offense because offense was not good.
yeah.
The Griffins' first goal, like I was alluding to earlier, Wells has to just save it because I think the guy was at the top of the circle, and he just shot it, and there was no screen in front or anything. It was off the rush. Wells just has to save it simply. The second goal was so the second goal was the defense just has to make sure Wells is not screened, and they didn't do a good job of making sure that didn't happen because there was a great screen in front by one of the Griffin players. So defense, be better, please. The third goal was also on the defense. They caused an on-man rush, and those aren't fun for a goalie. Because you have no
those
chance.
are never. Those are very difficult moments.
And then the Griffins' fourth goal, which was on Weeks, similar to the Wells' first goal allowed. He just has to save it. He was at the top of the left circle. Left circle. And it was just a shot off the rush. Weeks has to save it. Slavin with a rocket. Slavin with a rocket. And the Hawks get on the board. The Hogs get on the board. CD makes a great pass to Luke Philp. Oh, you want to go, Tyler?
I do want to mention that by the time that the Griffins had scored their third goal, the Ice Hogs still had 0 shots.
I didn't even know that. So
which
catch.
You can just tell that it's not. I would say that you're getting aggressively outplayed the entire game. You've already had to pull your goalie. You've had to make a goalie change before you get your first shot. Like, come on. You got to step it up. And they really didn't. They kept on getting outshot the rest of the game. It didn't really change.
Well, I would say that we did outplay them for the rest of the game. Just that first period was a nightmare. It seemed like the Griffins went into like the turtle mode. They just want to keep the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like our play in the second and third periods, but obviously the first period was terrible. CD makes a great pass to Philip. He gets a quality shot on net. The goalie leaves a big rebound for Gust, and Gust just taps it in.
Mm-hmm.
So
David Gust has been unreal as of late.
I think that was his 19th goal of the year.
Yeah, David Gust has been unreal so far, and there's a reason. There's a very obvious reason as to why this guy, AHL All-Star.
One of three. Lucas Reichel, Cini, and Gust.
Yeah. Isaac Phillips should be an All-Star because Isaac Phillips should be in the AHL, but that's not somebody else.
Hey, Phillips is playing great in the NHL.
He's playing very well, but
I
just hope it doesn't run out.
I don't know if it is right. I don't see it with Phillips in the NHL. I've seen him play twice in person now this season in the NHL, and it seems like he has that confidence to stay in the NHL long term.
All right, so this is
the
nightmare game right here, boys and girls.
And this is the one
Hogs
against
versus Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
2-7. 2-7. All right, another game.
And of course, this one's not fun because, of course, this is St. Louis's AHL team. Yay!
So another game against a team with a at or below 500, in which the Hawks do play down to their competition. I will get the stats next week of our record against teams with below 500 records because it's got to be terrible. It's not good. I just don't have the numbers in front of me. Soderblom's first game as a Hog since December 28th, where he got injured early in the first. So that's fun. I was on the bench for warm-ups. Yeah, I was on our bench for warm-ups because we had bench buddies. which is a bunch of kids sit on the bench for warm-ups. So I saw that Soderblom was back, and I was excited because I thought maybe we had a chance. I was wrong. Hogs 0 for 7 on the power play. 0 for 7.
They had 7
That is
power
bad.
plays in that game?
7.
They had 7. Oh,
7.
goodness gracious.
Didn't score on a single one. And if you want the numbers, at that time, we were 1 and 23 on the power play in our last 6 games.
Oh,
That's bad.
My heavens.
The Thunderbirds were 3 for 6, so the PK wasn't even that good either.
Right, they were allowing goals on the penalty kill as well.
Yeah, that sounds like the Blackhawks, not the Icehogs.
So the Hogs had 43 shots, but Vadim Zherenko stood tall, 41 for 43, so he played well.
Mm-hmm.
At least someone played well.
Not on our team. Not on our team.
Gust and Philp with a good effort to cut the deficit to 2-1. So it was like a mini. No, it wasn't even like a mini breakaway. So Gust was fighting for the puck. He taps it on net, and he actually gets like a pretty good. Like the shot was pretty good actually with one hand, and then it creates a rebound, and then Philp just comes in and gets the rebound and puts it in the net. So we get 2-1, and I was really happy. I was like, all right, here we go.
Okay.
We're gonna win this game potentially. And then Hardman with a great screen in front of the net. Cini shot it at like, no, that was Gus. Sorry, Gus shot it at like just before the half wall, and somehow gets
I saw
in.
that goal. It was a really weird angle, and it just kind of like
it just
happened
somehow
to
got
go
in.
in the net. Yeah.
Yes, it somehow got in.
Oh yeah. And I will mention, because I didn't see this goal. Really good call by the new guy, Mike Folta.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
He had a good call.
It was a really good call. It was like the whole thing is like, welcome to geometry class or something like that.
So that cut the deficit to 1 for the Hogs. So it was probably 3-1, or 3-2. Sorry, 3-2. Former Rockford Icehog and Chicago Blackhawk legend Matthew Highmore with 2 points, a goal, and assist.
Don't throw that tag on his. Don't throw that tag on him.
Hogs at this time at this point in the week we're on a 3-game losing streak and 6 straight games with 2 goals or less. That is not a winning recipe, because you want probably at least 3 goals in regulation. 2 goals or less on a consistent basis, not good.
Blackhawks definitely sound like the Blackhawks.
Yeah, yep. No, this seems. I mean, this seems like a complete reverse of fortunes in like every single capacity. Blackhawks are scoring goals. The Icehogs are not. Blackhawks are winning games. Icehogs are not. Blackhawks are getting goaltending. The Icehogs are not. It's just.
We know.
It's everything. Everything's different.
We know how the Hawks are playing, and we know it's not sustainable. The Icehogs are just on a schneid.
Alex Vlasic, who is playing his first few games from injury, was a -2 as well. I thought he played a decent game, though. All right, so here's the fun part. Breaking down the goals in the simplest fashion I could. Goals 2, 5, and 7 were Soderblom's fault. Completely on Soderblom.
That's too many. That's way too many goals to blame on a goalie. If you have 1 goal out of 7, you can say, okay, that's the goalie's fault. Then, like, okay, you can let it past him. If you're putting 3 on him,
I'm putting 3 on him.
Did the Blackhawks destroy Soderblom?
I'm gonna stop you there, Nick. I'm gonna stop you there, Nick. It's only one game.
I get it, but he was starting to play terrible in his last few games in the Blackhawks. Then they sent him down, got lit up in his first appearance down in Rockford.
Got hurt.
Back down in Rockford. And then he got injured. Now he's back. did the Hawks just break Arvid Soderblom?
I think that we will be able to answer that question more fully
At the end of the season.
3 months. Give us 3 months. Let's see where we are as we're approaching AHL playoff time. And I can give you a definitive answer that if the IceHogs are not in a playoff spot, the answer will be yes.
All right, so goals 1, 4, and 6 were not on Soderblom. Completely on defense. Maybe you can put blame on some blame on Soderblom, but most of the blame's on the defense.
Okay.
In my opinion. And then goal number 3 was equally Soderblom and the defense's fault.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this game against the Wolves was also terrible and a nightmare. It was a nightmare, though, for... Oh, you go, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as we've seen before, first game, Griffins losing 5-2. Second game, Thunderbirds losing 7-2. So we're losing by multiple goals and we're only scoring 2. What happens this time?
The same thing.
The exact same thing, yes.
So it was not terrible, for a lot of people because it was Autism Awareness Night tonight at the BMO. And we had our cool little... it was like the puzzle piece puzzle piece jerseys on, and had Hammy as a superhero, so that was cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool jersey. I thought the jerseys were really cool because the puzzle pieces they kind of went they kind of were like the shoulder pads
across the
and
shoulders,
they went
yes.
down the sleeves.
Yeah.
It was a really nice look. If you didn't get it, then I can understand why you'd think they were bad jerseys. But once you understand the reasoning behind it, there's really nothing to say. It's obviously fantastic, and it's a really good cause.
Yeah, I have the one from a couple years ago where it was like the Lego themed jersey for autism awareness for the IceHogs.
That's a good jersey too.
I love that jersey.
Yeah.
And it was our first sellout today.
I noticed the IceHogs tweeted that.
It was our first sellout.
Oh.
It was not a good sellout though. Because what follows is not fun. Okay.
No, it doesn't sound like it's going to be fun, but go ahead. Anyways.
Okay, so like I said before, whoever stole the real IceHogs, can we please have them back? 2 and 6 in our last 8.
The answer is Luke Richardson. Luke Richardson stole the IceHogs.
7th straight game with 2 goals or less. 1 and 6 in that span.
I feel like I'm talking about the Blackhawks.
I feel like I'm talking about the Blackhawks too. 4th straight game with 3 or more goals given up. So that's not a winning recipe either.
Okay, let's cut all this ridiculousness and let's just get this. John, what were the worst moments of this game, and then can you give me any good things that happened? First off, did any goalies get pulled?
No.
Okay.
We scored a power play goal.
Oh, Wells was in net tonight.
Okay.
We scored a power play goal if you want to count that as a win.
Scored a power play goal. Yay!
So,
considering the fact that we were barely any before that.
So 2 for 27, by the way, over the last 7 games. I'm looking through my notes here, Tyler. I'm not seeing a lot. I don't know if you count this as a good thing, but Rockford IceHogs / Chicago Blackhawks legend Brendan Perlini with 2 points, goal and assist. What else do we got here?
Do I look like I'm smiling?
No, you do not. I don't know if that's the fact that I called him a legend or if the fact that he had 2 points tonight. I'm gonna go with the latter half.
Can we also do a quick recap on what Alec Regula did in this game, considering you mentioned, oh my God, he was a -3.
Yeah, he was a -3. I mentioned that.
Considering the fact that we talked about Brendan Perlini.
Brett Cini fought Jack Jury and it was even. Do you want to count that as a win, Tyler?
I mean, considering the fact that same night Isaac Phillips got pile driven by Ivan Barbashev, I'll take it.
Okay. Adam Clendenning with a goal. He scored on the power play, I believe. So that's good.
That's cool.
It was actually a really good shot. Not even gonna lie. Because I know we're not the biggest Adam Clendenning fans on this podcast, so I'll give him his dues. My narratives continue to be right with DJ Buzzdecker. He scored a goal.
Buzzdecker
It was a pretty good. It was a pretty good shot. It was a pretty good shot.
Yeah. All right, now let's get into the bad.
Okay. So here's another stat, like a statistic for you, Tyler. The Hawks have surrendered the first goal in 9 of the last 11 games. And
fun.
All in the first period, by the way. All in the first period.
That is Blackhawks level bad.
No, that's bad. That's really bad.
Hey,
you got to get good starts, and I don't know what's going on with the Icehogs right now, and what exactly is the reason why they're so.
Lucas Reichel's down there.
But Lucas Reichel's down there. But Lucas Reichel won 3 games with the Blackhawks.
I don't know what the problem is, Tyler. I really can't tell you. We're just not playing well. All right,
crazy.
So we're gonna do the same thing that we did with Soderboom and just break down these goals as simply as possible. Goals 2, 3, 4, and 5 were not Wells' fault. They were not on Dylan Wells. They were
4 of those right there.
So they were all like odd man rushes.
Okay.
All of them were odd man rushes.
That's not a good thing though.
No, it's not.
You're getting. They got 4 odd man rushes
at least
that all turned into goals.
Yeah,
that's not good on a goalie.
No, that's a really difficult position to be in.
Okay. I know there was 1 breakaway goal. I don't know if I count that as both the defense's fault and Wells' fault, or just not Wells' fault. I forget.
It's
but goal
mainly
1
defense, because
goal 1 was not, or goal 1 was Wells' and the defense's fault. I'm trying to remember which goal that was. Oh, that was the goal that they sniped it on him. He probably could have saved it, but the defense should have probably had better coverage as well. And then, all right, so goal 6, Tyler, you will love this. Goal 6. So the Chicago Wolves dump it in to complete a change, right? Just your basic dump in, right?
I don't like where this is going.
It hits off the ref's skate, bounces in front of the net, and there's a Wolf sitting right there that just got on the ice, and he taps it in. And Wells is like scrambling to get back in front of the net.
What? I just watched it. Oh my god.
It literally went off the ref. It hit the ref in like the leg/foot area. It was not fun because I happened right in front of me.
That's awful. And obviously it's not really like the kind of awful that like you could even control.
No, it's not the awful. So I just put it under bad luck. It was simply bad luck.
That's bad puck luck. But it seems that the defense really let Wells down tonight, which is not good considering how much NHL experience is on that blue line.
100%. But the offense is not doing anything either.
No, the offense isn't doing well at all either.
Like I said earlier, 7th straight game with 2 goals or less.
Yeah. Can you point to anyone who you could give a player of the week to?
I mean, since we're playing terribly and we haven't scored a lot of goals, so that means barely any points, I'll just give it to Luke Philp. He's got 3 points. 1 goal, 2 assists. I like Philp. I think he's been playing well. He got injured middle of the season this year, but other than that, he's been good. Anything else in my notes against the Wolves?
Yeah. One thing about Philp, I noticed on the lineup card today that Reichel was actually listed as the 2C and Philp was listed as the 1C playing with Steamy and Gust.
Reichel was not playing center. He was playing left wing.
Who was playing center on that line?
I believe Cole Gutman.
Gutman was the center, okay. Because the lineup card had Reichel listed as the center, but Gutman was playing the center spot.
Yeah, so and the only reason I know that is because they did a face-off right in front of me, and I saw Reichel and I'm like, oh wait, maybe I should see if he's taking the face-off, and he wasn't.
Okay,
on the
so
left wing.
Let's all confirm this now so we can say this moving forward. Lucas Reichel is currently not playing center for the Rockford Icehogs.
Davidson.
Okay? Davidson.
I know I've said this like probably two in both of the last games because this is true, but yet another opponent where they are very beatable and we play down to them.
Oh yeah. Very
like the Wolves are terrible this year, and we allowed them to score 6 goals. Not fun.
And the Thunderbirds 7 and the Griffins 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't really have anything positive to say about this week.
And with that, let's move on from the Ice Hogs because this is a happy show, and I know that you're like, how can this be a happy show? You decided to start a podcast with the Chicago Blackhawks in the year of our Lord 2022. Shut up. But let's move into our preview of the next week to come. Tomorrow night, which is actually before this podcast will go out, the Kings will be coming into Chicago. So the Hawks will be playing the Kings. We already made our predictions on the last episode of the podcast for this one. But then we head on a 3-game road trip just before the All-Star break. And it's an all-Canadian Western Conference road trip. First, we head to the biggest toxic wasteland in the entire NHL, the Vancouver Canucks.
Oof.
Then, after that...
was crying today.
Yeah, then, after that, we head 2 days later to the most awful human coaching a hockey team in the Calgary Flames.
What did he do to you?
Yeah.
Did you see what Daryl Sutter said about Jacob Pelletier today?
I didn't.
So basically, they called it Jacob Pelletier like a week ago. He finally got into his first NHL game like today. And then he basically like forgot about him and pretended like he either pretended or genuinely acted like he didn't even know that he played tonight. He put him on like the 4th line, barely played him at all, and treated him like he didn't exist. And then he said, Jacob Pelletier, what's his number? In a press conference.
Isn't he
talking about one of the top prospects in the organization?
Yeah, so he's supposed to be kind of good. That's not good.
It's bad. Like this guy, I wouldn't want to be a prospect.
I don't know if I would call him the worst human ever though.
I wouldn't want to be a prospect in that organization. I wouldn't.
Sutter is a bit of an oldie though.
No. And with that, then on Saturday, last game before the All-Star break, the Hawks will head to Edmonton to take on the Oilers. That'll be Saturday night, 9 p.m. Could potentially change our podcast schedule because that'll be a late game on a Saturday night. We usually record these on Saturday nights. But I'm going to head this over to John first. John, we have Vancouver, we have Calgary, we have Edmonton. They're all late road games. What have you got for the scorelines in these games?
So for Vancouver, since they're a toxic wasteland, it seems like Blackhawks kind of lose these kind of games that they should probably win. They're going to lose, I would say, 3-2 in overtime. For the Calgary game, since we have you who doesn't like their coach, I'm going to say we are going to win. I'll say 4-2. And then Edmonton, they have their team is much, much better than us. So, but we are scoring a lot of goals right now. So I'll say 7-6.
7-6 against Edmonton.
Well, I mean, last game was 6-5, I think, and I was there.
Yeah, it was.
We
You
can't
said no overtime.
Yeah, no overtime.
Who wins?
Oh, I'll say we win because they won the last one.
All right, so you got 2 wins and a loss.
I'll try to be more happy in this segment.
All right, and then my next question, because we're probably not going to record. We might record another podcast before the All-Star break, so I want to ask you this question. What contest do you think in the skills competition will Seth Jones participate in?
How about he would probably do the hardest shot. He seems like he has a pretty good shot.
Okay. All right.
I would say the hardest shot.
All right. Nick, we've got games against Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. What do you got?
Okay, since we're going to start off with the you know what? I'm going to start off with the Edmonton Oilers game and then go to the Pudwacks of the Vancouver Canucks. For the Oilers game, I would say this. Oilers will beat the Hawks, and it's going to be a 4-2 game Edmonton. The Flames game, since we just beat the Flames not that long ago, I think this could lead to revenge by the Flames, and the Flames beat the Hawks, and a score of 3-1. I think the scoring is actually going to go down with the Hawks. Okay. And then we play again, and for the first game of the week against Vancouver, and that dumpster fire of a front office with if it's Rick Tocchet coaching, because it's rumored he's going to be the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, Vancouver wins in overtime 3-2. If it's still Bruce Boudreau, reverse it for the Hawks. Bruce Boudreau deserves better than the way he's going out of Vancouver, because that front office is a complete and utter joke.
Oh yeah,
was he like crying during the game, like when they were all cheering for him, like the fans were cheering for him? That's sad.
He was also crying he got emotional during a press conference.
That's crazy. The weird thing about that, I would just say, is that, you know, how do you downgrade after firing Jim Benning?
I don't know. I really don't know. The way this is the issue. They have the Aquilinis, who's been under investigation a couple of times this year. They have their front office, who's been under investigation this year multiple times, especially with the fact their medical staff is apparently inept and doesn't know what they're doing. The Canucks are a complete and utter dumpster fire to the NHL.
And we root for the Blackhawks.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. And the final thing, what contests in the skills competition do you think Seth Jones will be participating in?
I would say the hardest shot, but I would not be surprised if they throw him up on the accurate shot competition. Okay.
All right. And then for me, I think that the first game against Vancouver, I think that they will win this game. I think it'll be something like a 4-2 win, something along those lines. Against Calgary, I think that their fortunes change in this one. I think this is going to be like a 4-1 loss, maybe even like a 5-1 loss. And then against Edmonton, I think the final score could be something like 6-3. Edmonton victory. So I'll give them a win against Vancouver, but I think that they end on a bit of a low note in terms of their last couple games this road trip. And then on the when it comes to the skills competition for Seth Jones, I'm just going to say that I think he's going to be one of those guys who passes to the one-timer people.
Oh God.
I mean, those those are NHL players. Like there are NHL All-Stars who they do pass for the one-timers, but I think that like that or like the saucer pass guys, I think he could do that as well.
There are two new competitions though in the skills competition that take place on the beach. We could even see Jones go on the beach and do one of the competitions.
What are the beach?
They're on the beach.
Yes.
Where are they?
I can't remember exactly, but I know one competition is where they're shooting pucks into alligator mouths, like not real alligators. That's what I've heard is a contest. So like shooting could be for like the shooting star competition they had in the St. Louis one where Kane won it because screw the Blues. But
the shooting stars thing, that was always
I wonder
fun.
if they need to bring that one back. They only had it for that
but
one.
I think they need to do it better though. I didn't think the way they did it was great. I think that there's a better application.
That was the first time they ever done it, and it was the last time they ever done it. I think they could easily bring it back and update it.
Remember when they completely ruined the accurate shot contest for a year?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! No, we're never doing that again. No,
the TV screen goal that you're talking about that didn't work.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
It was bad. That was funny. The NHL. How does the NHL always innovate in the worst ways and never in the right ways?
Glowing puck.
You know that that little mini net that you sauce it into? They should do that on the beach. They should do that on the beach.
I don't know.
I really
don't know.
That thing needs to slide.
Yeah, but they have the little slidey white boards on them.
And with that is going to be the end of this episode of the Hawkey PuckCast. Tune in next week where we are going to discuss everything involving this last week before the All-Star break of Blackhawks updates. Hopefully while I move back, we'll be able to discuss more prospect stuff. We will have a full week off after that, which I guess would probably be the perfect time for Wally and I to unveil our prospect pyramids if we can for that week's episode. But along with that, that's going to be the end. So thank you, as always, for joining me, Nick.
Winning hockey is fun, but the tank has been kind of derailed right now.
The tank has been kind of derailed, but at the same time, there's still a lot more games to come. There's still a lot more trades to come. I think we're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be fine. And thank you, as always, for joining us, John.
Play better, Icehogs, please. Blackhawks, you're fine. Just play better, Icehogs.
Yeah. My name is Tyler. This has been the Hawkey PuckCast, and we will see y'all next time. Take care.